الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. So we're continuing discussing the book Bulugh Maram, and in this session we'll be continue discussing concerning a matter that relates to Kitab al-Buyu. So the author Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, that he have titled this chapter, this heading, which is Kitab al-Buyu, and discussing concerning certain matters pertaining al-Buyu, and that he started this discussion regarding, as he mentioned, shuruti or shurut al-Buyu, wa also ma nuhi anhu minhu, and also of those transactions that are said to be not allowed. So in discussing some of those transactions, that today we'll be discussing another of those type of transactions that is mentioned here that is not allowed, where he discussed concerning the hadith of Ibn Omar radiyallahu anhuma, where we discuss the hadith, read the hadith, and then discuss the ahkam and the benefits that can be taken from this particular hadith. Tafaddal.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. We start this lesson on page 258, hadith 669. Narrated Ibn Umar radiallahu an, I brought some oil in the market, and when I had taken it from the seller, a man met me and offered to give me a good profit for it. Then, when I was about to finalize the deal with him, a man caught hold of my forearm from behind. So I turned and found that he was Zayd ibn Thabit radiallahu an. He said, do not sell it in the place where you have bought it, till you have taken it to your dwelling. This is because Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam forbade that commodities to be sold in the place where they were bought, till the traders take them to their dwellings. Reported by Ahmed and Abu Dawood. This wording is found in Abu Dawood, Ibn Hibban, and Al-Hakim graded it Sahih, authentic.
So here concerning what the hadith is mentioned regarding of those type of things that one should be mindful of regarding business transaction, where he mentioned the hadith of Ibn Omar radiyallahu anhuma, where he mentioned that he bought zayt في السوق, that he bought some zayt inside the market. Then he mentioned فلما استوجبته لقيني رجل, that after this transaction took place, then he met a person فأعطاني به ربحا حسن, and the person who met me after completing this transaction, then another person met him in the market and wanted to buy off this, wanted to purchase this item from him. Then I mentioned فأردت أن أضرب على يدي. So he mentioned that يد الرجل, that I wanted to shake the hand of this person. They indicate that there was a form of at times when they will carry out business transaction, that they will shake each other's hand as a part of the transaction shown regarding the transaction is now completed. And then he mentioned فأخذ رجل من خلفي بذراعي. Then he mentioned a person that he pulled me from behind. Then he mentioned that he mentioned فإذا هو زيد ibn Thabit. Then when he looked back, it was a person called Zayd ibn Thabit. So the person who actually pulled Zayd ibn Thabit, that had touched him from behind. لا تبع حتى اتبعت حتى تحوزه إلى رحله. Then he mentioned that you are not to sell off something until that thing until you have that things in safety, or you take that things into safety back to your place of commerce. Then he mentioned that أن رسول الله عليه السلام نهى أن تباع السلع حيث تبتاع. That he mentioned the hadith, then he went and explained that the reason why he said this, that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that it is forbidden for a person to sell something in the place that he bought it until the person take it to somewhere else. Then I mentioned التجار إلى رحالهم, until the person take it back to their place of commerce. And then he mentioned the hadith regarding concerning takhrij of the hadith. رواه أحمد, the hadith is narrated by Imam Ahmed in his Musnad. Also Abu Dawood في Sunan, I mentioned وَلَفْلَهُ, and this wording is the wording that is taken from Abu Dawood. So this wording that is mentioned here from all those who have collected this hadith, that is wording is the one that is found in Abu Dawood. Then he mentioned Sahahu Ibn Hibban wal Hakim, and also the hadith is also narrated by Ibn Hibban and Hakim, and all the hadith said to be authentic. Then as for concerning, in general concerning takhrij of this hadith, that as he has stated the hadith in the Abu Dawood, that hadith in the Musnad of Imam Ahmed, Abu Dawood, this particular hadith. Also the hadith is found in Ibn Ibn, Hakim. Also in addition you have Al-Bayhaqi, also Tahawi in his book Mushkil, Shar al-Mushkil, also the hadith is mentioned there, and Ad-Daraqutni. So this hadith is with Ahmed, Abu Dawood, Ibn Ibn, Hakim. Also in addition you have Al-Bayhaqi, also Tahawi, and also Daraqutni. All have mentioned this particular hadith. The ulama have a discussion regarding this hadith regarding its level of the authenticity of this hadith. So a discussion between the ulama regarding the ruling that regarding this particular hadith, that overall that you find that they have mentioned concerning the hadith that the hadith is Hasan. And the reason why it is graded as Hasan, they mention min ajli Ibn Ishaq, and he said to be Suduq. So Ibn Ishaq, one of the narrators of the hadith, that was Muhammad ibn Ishaq, that he said to be Suduq, whereas so based upon this, the hadith is downgraded to Hasan, to still an acceptable level, but not to the level of Sahih. So still an acceptable level regarding the hadith that is mentioned here. And Ibn Ishaq, known for Tadlis, but also he have mentioned the hadith concerning that he mentioned Tahdith. So he mentioned wording of Tahdith, that he did actually hear the hadith directly. So this also remove any form of Tadlis that may possibly occur regarding the hadith. Then also the hadith also, it is narrated by others regarding that this hadith also had been transmitted by other books of hadith that are similar amongst those who have narrated this hadith. As Shawahid to the hadith, we have At-Tabarani, also Daraqutni, that have also narrated this hadith that with similar meaning. They mentioned concerning Amal Qawl Hakim, Al-Hakim rahimullah, when he mentioned this hadith in his Sahih, he mentioned هذا حديث صحيح على شرط مسلم لم يخرجاه. That is hadith according to Al-Hakim rahimahullah, that he mentioned that هذا حديث صحيح, that this hadith is authentic على شرط المسلم, in accordance to the condition of Imam Muslim. Then they mention walam yukharrijahu, and that both Bukhari and Muslim, that Bukhari and Muslim did not transmit this hadith, or they did not narrate this hadith. So he mentioned overall the hadith is in accordance to the condition of Muslim. Then you find some of the ulama, they are mentioned fihi nadar, as for what I've mentioned by Hakim regarding the hadith being on the condition of Imam Muslim, fihi nadar, meaning that information that he mentioned is not correct. So that is something that needs to be looked into further. But what is apparent, that fihi nadar, that saying that that information is not correct. They mention based upon Ibn Ishaq, one of the narrators that have narrated upon that. So you have Ibn Ishaq mentioned by Imam Muslim, but not in his usul. So this hadith is not according to the condition of Imam Muslim, contrary to what have been stated by Ahl Hakim and Naysaburi. But over the hadith is said to be Hasan. The hadith is said to be Hasan. They mentioned that Ibn Ishaq إنما روى له يعني Imam Muslim في متابعات مقرونا بغيره, that Imam Muslim rahimahullah, when he mentioned the hadith of Ibn Ishaq, that he don't mention with others as a form of something that gives strength to him. So he's not mentioned by himself, but rather he's mentioned and coupled with others. So they mentioned that Ibn Ishaq, that is mentioned around 5 places in the Sahih. So about 5 hadith regarding Ibn Ishaq that can be found as mentioned by Imam or mentioned by Al-Zahabi rahimahullah ta'ala. So overall, the hadith is said to be Hasan, but also it have, so the hadith is said to be Hasan, which is a level of acceptability. The next thing that is mentioned regarding this hadith is regarding concerning that the meaning of the hadith. So the hadith can somewhat mention that Ibn Omar radiyallahu anhuma, that he purchased an item which was zayt. Then after purchasing of the item, that he then wanted, which is zayt, a zaytun, which is concerning a zayt, or he purchased this oil. Then he mentioned that he then wanted to, after purchasing this and having this item, then also that he wanted then to, someone else wanted to purchase the item, but he was still in the marketplace. So he's still in the marketplace where he just purchased that item. Someone else, a third person then someone else wanted to buy that item from him. Then he mentioned regarding concern, a person also wanted to give him a good price for the item. So then he mentioned that then as he about to complete that transaction by shaking off the hand of that person. So it shows regarding that, of a time, regarding that, during that time, as a way of kind of somewhat sealing or closing of the transaction. There are times where they shake their hands, shake hands with that the buyer and the seller as a form of the close of that sale. So I mentioned regarding concern that so it's not something which is a must to be done. So it's not a condition that carrying out a transaction both needs to shake off hand, but was something that they did, but it is not considered to be something which is wajib. So they mentioned that after he bought the item, then he mentioned that Zayd ibn Thabit, that he came and told him that not to sell the item until he has moved to another place, until the item back to his place of trade. So that's concerning this particular hadith regarding concerning this matter. The next matter discussed regarding the hadith, that it is used as an evidence, as mentioned here by Sheikh Abdullah Fawzan, Hafidullah. He mentioned hadithun or al-hadithu دليل على أنه لا يجوز للمشتري أن يبيع ما اشتراه قبل أن يقبضه. So he mentioned regarding concerning a person, that if he has purchased something, is not for him to then sell off that thing until he has full possession of that item. So until a person possesses that item, he is not allowed to sell that item. We mentioned ويهوزه إلى مكانه, and also he take that item to his place of trade, take it to another place. So that's concerning this particular matter. So this hadith is regarding concerning that this hadith, it is discussing concerning the matter, the topic concerning, as mentioned concerning that al-bay' al-sila, a person trading an item qabla qabduha, before that day of, or qabla qabdiha, before it is in their full possession. So this hadith is to discuss regarding, is it permissible, or this hadith is showing that it is not permissible regarding selling an item until the person have taken possession of this item. And we have somewhat discussed this previously regarding also. So from this hadith, it is from the zahir of this hadith, the hadith is somewhat general regarding any item that someone that this applies to across the board, regarding any item, that any item the person is not allowed to sell that item until they have full possession of the item. So they mention regarding whether this item is ta'am or other than ta'am. So whether the item or is good, is something of food, or it is otherwise, the same rule applies based upon the apparent meaning of the hadith, where that thing should be moved from that place and taken to somewhere else before it is sold again. So with this matter that they mentioned, so this apply concerning thing which is different type of things that will apply regarding furniture, regarding books, regarding concerning medical items, or even animals, we have livestock and the likes. So this hadith will based upon this hadith that that we mentioned regarding concerning the hadith mentioned, أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم نهى أن تباع السلة حتى تبتاع, that a person is not allowed to buy something until he has full possession of the item, or bought that item and also he has full possession. So they mention that this applies to any type of transaction. So from this, without any exception. So with this, without any exception. So from this, that you find that some of the ulama that they are mentioned regarding concerns that they have mentioned regarding hada qawl man, that those who are all concerned that things that needs to be moved, things regarding concerning that things that are merchandise that needs to be moved, then the person is not allowed to sell those merchandise until they are in its full possession. That and that's the call of Jumhur of the ulama. So regarding concerning that manqulat, regarding concerning that adversary item, regarding manqulat, regarding items regarding merchandise, that they are not to be sold off until the person has full possession of those things. And those are the position taken by Jumhur of the ulama, amongst them the Hanafiya, the Shafi'iyya, the Zahiriyya, and the Riwayat Imam Ahmed. So Jumhur of the ulama take the position that those things regarding certain items, that merchandise of goods, that they are not to be sold until the person has full possession. And that's the view of the Jumhur, and the Jumhur that will consist of some ulama of the Shafi'iyya, of the Malik, of the Hanafiya, Shafi'iyya, the Zahiriyya, and also riwayat and Imam Ahmed. And also some also they will include adafa aidan بعض ulama concerning iqar, regarding concerning things regarding property. So also the same would be of property that the person must have a full possession before they can sell those things away, before they can sell these things off. As for the Hanafiya regarding concerning property, then the Ahnaf, that they take a position that regarding property, that a person can sell those things before he has full possession. So a person can sell off a property before he has full possession. That's the view that is taken by some of the Ahnaf. If the person doesn't fear that this thing will be destroyed or be lost. So that's concerning a view that is taken by some of the ulama. So they mention regarding concerning that So I mentioned that as for the matter regarding concerning taking possession of an item, then what I've been mentioned that this also taken into consideration regarding that different items, they may vary from one item to another. So some items, it goes back to the urf, the custom of the people regarding what are those items that those things of items that are being sold that require the person to have a full possession before they can be sold off. So these things may vary. That they mentioned regarding some things would require the person to have full possession, and in today's time regarding concerning things of large scale business transaction or certain type of business transaction require the person that he has to have possession of that item. He has to have possession of those regarding the person wanting to sell a house, property, land, and the likes. Then a person should have possession before they can sell that item off. And also other thing that we have discussed regarding concerning is that certain items also require the same thing. So certain type of crops that also this at times apply to certain type of crops that the person should have a full possession before they can sell off those items. So those things, they may vary from some items where it can be done, and some items where the person will require to have full possession before they can be sold off. So that's concerning what is stated regarding this discussion regarding this particular hadith. As for how a person now take possession or of this matter, again it varies regarding al-ultima. As some of the ulama all mentioned regarding concerning that of the view also that things of ultima, things of food, then those things that have to be weighed, those things have to be measured, then a person is not to sell those things until they have been measured and weighed before or counted before they can be sold off. So a person buy of things of that nature, of those a certain type of item that need to be weighed, need to be counted, then those things, after those things have been carried out before they can be sold. Also regarding concerning that selling of property, of houses and all that in today's time regarding the person that he would need concerning that some type of, they said, documentation before those things are sold. So the practice of today that a person will need some form of documentation regarding selling of property and houses and the like. So that's what becomes the custom of today in most places. So some form of paperwork regarding those type of items. Also regarding concerning that, for example, sayyarat, concerning cars, automobiles, and the likes. Then also regarding concerning a person also, in most part, will have some type of documentation. And also the person being given like the key, then a person will have possession, or even house, the person will get the possession documentation, and also he has been handed the keys, then also those are signs that the person will have full possession of the property. And also things like malabis, things regarding like clothing and the likes, then it is considered when the person now have those things have been now handed over to the person. So when those things have been handed or to the person, then it's said to be the one now who have possession of those things, or there's a consent for the person now to have that is said to be actually his item. So there may be not per se in his direct possession, but he's the one now who owns those items, and now and it cannot be sold except with their permission, because they're said to be now the actual owner of that item. So these things, they apply depending on the items, as we have clarified regarding that having possession of those items it may varies based upon custom. Some things it require the person to have the item is in their possession, and some things it may not be in their and other things depending on the custom as to when it is said to be of your item. When it is said to be of your item. So that's concerning what is mentioned here regarding this type of transaction, which is the matter relating to when the person is not allowed to sell the item until he has possession of that item, and that possession that where he is the one who is said to be in, the owner of the right to dispense or to sell that item off to others. So that's concerning what is mentioned in this particular hadith of Ibn Umar regarding of those things that one should be mindful of regarding is it the permissibility or lack of permissibility of selling certain things until you have possession or possession of the item. So this inshallah ta'ala will end this session today and continue discussing other matters pertaining to a hadith relating to transactions that are not allowed. With this inshallah ta'ala we end. وبالله تعالى توفيق وهذه السبيل والآخر دعوانا الحمد لله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.